Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm Scott May, and I'd like to welcome you to the 23rd Annual Boulder Award celebration honoring Barbara Foster. Welcome to the Oak Hill Country Club, and welcome to FATV.
Thank you for tuning into FATV, the best public television there is. Before I introduce the very talented and dedicated staff of FATV, I would like to take a moment to thank David Melody and his staff here at Oak Hill Country Club for being our Boulder Award banquet partner for the 9th year in a row. I would like to welcome this evening Fitchburg Mayor Steve DiNatale, State Senator Dean Tran, and Fitchburg State University President Dr. Richard Lapidus. Representative Stephen Hay was here with us earlier, but had to leave for a personal commitment. I would also like to thank our business partners, most notably the City of Fitchburg, Fitchburg State University, the North Central Mass Chamber of Commerce, Workers Credit Union, Rollstone Bank, Unitil, Minuteman Press, and MART. And I would also like to welcome the guys from WPKZ. It's true, it does take a village, and without your support and that of the entire community, we would not be among the more active and more successful access centers in the Commonwealth. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the foundation of FATV, the team who represent the today and tomorrow of this very successful organization. Travis Falk is our operations technician. He is also the grizzled veteran of the group. Not me, it's Travis. He manages literally all of the technical aspects of FATV. He also produces the very popular bowling show, King of the Palace, which is recorded at the Palace Lanes in Claiborne. We call Travis MacGyver. Ann Bisbee, our operations manager. Since She was hired by Dave Svens in 2012. She has handled, among her many duties, the nuts and bolts of planning the Boulder Award celebration, which she likens to planning a wedding reception. She manages all of our program scheduling, our public service message board announcements. She supports our many outreach efforts and consults regularly with our program producers on schedules and guests, and is very busy with our business operations, social media, marketing, promotions, and communications campaigns. Ann Bisbee. Dave Oster is our production and education manager. That face is our face in the schools and our representative with the youth of the community. Dave is responsible for scheduling coverage, staffing, and overseeing all of FATV production events. He is a highly skilled production specialist, also a licensed drone pilot, as you saw in the video examples, and currently pursuing his master's degree at Fitchburg State. Matt Carroll is our production and education supervisor who began working for FATV in 2017. He's a skilled camera person, a director. He is the producer and host of the FATV Sports Report. He also recently produced for FATV a documentary of the Fitchburg State hockey team called The Falcons Fly On, and on Fitchburg High School star football player Devin DeLeon, called The Recruitment. Matt Carroll. Jared Roberts became our full-time production specialist this past April 1st. No fooling. But began working for FATV back in 2014, covering city council and school committee meetings. A skilled editor with an eye for creative graphics design, Jared now handles coverage of the many citywide events, from ribbon cuttings to chamber breakfast meetings, including early tomorrow morning, to the different segments being produced for our newly created magazine program, North Central Journal, as well as providing studio support for our many weekly in-house productions. Jared Roberts. That had to be the Chamber of Commerce table, I'm guessing. Nicole Gaffney is a track coach, a photographer, videographer, and personal life coach for Matt Carroll. She is also tremendously talented and recently produced a segment for North Central Journal called Worcester's Bravest, which focused on the loss of Worcester firefighter Chris Roy and a joint fundraising campaign between Wachusett and Wormtown breweries in support of Chris Roy's daughter, Ava. Nicole Gaffney. Charlie Ollis, who is behind our camera tonight, and Connor Briggs, our Fitchburg State University student athletes, who are also occasional part-time employees of FATV, supporting many of our field production events. Charlie Ollis. We thank Fitchburg State University for Ann, Dave, Matt, Nicole, Charlie, and Connor, and my wife, Mickey, all recipients of an FSU education. We thank God for Travis Fogg. I would also like to thank the Board of Directors for the continued support of the staff, for being the inspiration of continued growth of Fitchburg Access Television. Their volunteer commitment to FATV makes our business the success that it has been and that it will continue to be. And it is my pleasure now to introduce the Vice President of the Board of Directors of Fitchburg Access Television, Nate Lennon.
All right. Thank you all for attending Fitchburg Access Television's 23rd Annual Boulder Award Dinner. I'll be sure to keep this short and sweet so that we can all catch up with the Bruins action tonight. Anybody know the score? FATV is honored to be a part of this ever-evolving and growing community we call home. FATV believes in Fitchburg, and we live by our motto, working together for a stronger community. I would like to also extend a special thank you to all of our volunteers over the years, both past and present, because without all of you, we wouldn't be where we are today. And we wouldn't be graced with all the diverse programming that is all over our channels. Make no mistake, Fitchburg Access Television is one of the best access facilities you can find in New England. Without a doubt. So at this time, I would like to recognize our board of directors for their contributions to this successful PEG station. Every board member volunteers their time and their patience to meet for monthly board meetings, but many of them also produce local programming. They also volunteer as technicians on our productions. I would like to kindly ask that they stand as I recognize them individually. Our president, Arthur Collins, is currently out of town, but never out of reach. Art, he's the director of media services for Mount Wachusett Community College, as well as a freelance technical manager for NBC Sports Boston and also the Kraft Sports Group. He's well-versed in the technical knowledge of the business, which helps FATV stay on top of the latest emerging technologies out in the industry. Clerk John Dextras. John, he's a dedicated volunteer for many live productions here at FATV, including Fitchburg State University football and graduation broadcasts for both Fitchburg High School and Fitchburg State University. John also finds time to work with Lunenburg Access Television, covering multiple government events, as well as Lunenburg football. Director George Mariginian. George is the producer and host of FATV's second longest running regular series, Chess Chat. I had to ask him on that one. He knows exactly where he is. Beginning in 2006, Chess Chat is a program that discusses strategy behind the tried and true board game. This program is produced with volunteer members of the Wachusett Chess Club, located at Fitchburg State University, and it's the second oldest chess club in Massachusetts. We also have Director Howard Shad. Pastor Shad is a longtime volunteer and producer of a few shows that are televised on FATV, including Day of Discovery, I Sing Because, and Holiness Unto the Lord. Every Monday, Howard is in the editing suite, composing a new episode to be played on our Access channel. Howard has even helped behind the scenes on a little show called Barbara and You. Don't think I saw her, but Director Amy Green. Amy is a producer and host of Weekly Wellness, a program on FATV that is dedicated to inform the community on traditional as well as complementary health care. Amy is also, as you know, Vice President of the Fitchburg City Council and represents constituents from Ward 1. She is also a local business owner as a licensed and certified medical massage therapist. Director Dave Clark. I'm sure you all know, but Dave is well known as the voice of Red Raider football over many, many years. And more recently, he's a contributor for an upcoming special episode on North Central Journal that will be highlighting the career of the retired Ray Cosenza. So as they say in the business, stay tuned and watch for that North Central Journal episode. Dave is also a counselor at large for Fitchburg and has begun the journey of retirement from a long and successful career at Fitchburg State University. David. What?
Ray is interviewing me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I knew I should. I didn't talk to him beforehand. Director Glenn Kinney. Glenn was recently elected to the Board of Directors this past December and brings a great deal of knowledge from Metro Boston to FATV. He is currently employed with Harvard University's Media Department and is Chief Media Engineer for the annual and well-known Hasty Pudding Award. Glenn is also a business owner of Kinney DJ Services. That was not a plug. Next, we have Director Chris Chenard. And Chris was also recently elected to the Board of Directors during this past December and has a master's degree in applied communication from none other than Fitchburg State University. Chris is currently employed as an instructional media specialist and support technician at Mount Wachusett Community College. He is someone who brings a great sense of technological know-how and offers this to FATV. Thank you. And last but not least, we have Director Travis Condon. There he is. And Travis was most recently elected to the Board of Directors this past March. He joins us with community roots and technical, maybe battery died? Technical knowledge through his current employment with WPKZ AM 1280 and 105.3 FM. You've likely heard Travis and his voice on the K-Zone Morning Commute, or maybe you've been a lucky guest for his interview on Travis's Lunchbox. He is also co-MC for Fitchburg Civic Day's annual Independence Day Parade. Travis Condon. So I guess this is the cue. I spoke for too long and the battery died on me. So with that, I thank you all once again for joining us for this evening of celebration and recognition. And on behalf of the Board of Directors of Fitchburg Access, we would like to congratulate all the award winners, including this year's rock-solid Boulder recipient, Barbara Foster.
Next, we have the 19th annual presentation of our member awards. These are volunteers who we honor as overachievers for FATV, those who have been stars in their own right and contributed above and beyond to the quality programming presented by FATV. Our first member presentation is the Excellence Award, to be presented by Dave Oster.
So the FATV Excellence Award was created last year. It is to acknowledge former FATV employees for their excellence while working at FATV. Jared Roberts, our winner last year, he came back to us and, as Scott said, in April became a full-time employee. So I guess the former employee part didn't quite work out. This year's winner of the FATV Excellence Award is Tim Doust. We'd like to recognize Tim for his hard work, commitment, and excellence at FATV during the time that he worked here. He worked at FATV for 7 years, and during that time, he not only laid the groundwork, but he built what our education program is today. He started classes and after-school programs in just about every school in Fitchburg, each having their own show produced pretty much entirely by the students with Tim's help. Tim Tim is a great guy. He helped in creating shows such as Longshore Olympians, the Memorial Morning Show, the Crocker Cubs, South Street Buzz, and of course, FHS Studios. Many of you have been guests on that show. As well, he helped strengthen our relationship with Fitchburg State University by helping establish and then teach the Fitchburg State multi-camera course, which is still taught in our studios every fall. Aside from teaching in the schools, Tim was a team player for both in-studio and our field productions at FATV. If he wasn't teaching a member how to use a camera, he was operating one himself, sometimes on the top of a scissor lift at Fitchburg State University. During football games at either Fitchburg State or Fitchburg High, Tim often had a pocket full of Skittles. And let me tell you, the staff loved listening to him chew over the headsets. Since leaving FATV, Tim has got a full-time job as a television broadcast teacher at FHS, Framingham High School, that is.
We're happy about that.
Tim enjoys teaching students more than most people you could find. And because of that, the students that he teaches are lucky to have him. Tim is a great guy, like I said. He's caring, he's creative, he's funny, always ready to tell a joke. When I first met Tim, he was just a coworker when I started at FATV. And now I truly do consider him a friend. And on behalf of all of us at FATV, I'd like to thank you, Tim, for all of the things that you've done for us. Congratulations. Please come and accept your award. If you'd like to.
All right.
Speak up.
Wow, this is so cool. Thank you. Ann Bisbee, you work so hard every single year to make this happen. You organize it. And I think that Ann deserves a round of applause because this wouldn't happen without Ann. I really need to thank the staff of FATV. You are a pillar of support and hope in everything that I created there. To the board of directors, the same thing. You are always there to support me. Administration and the school system as well. My friends and my family and the love of my life, Shannon Kessler, always there to support me. There's something like 160 community access stations in Massachusetts. And in one way or another, they interact with education, whether it's football, covering football, classes at the high school or different types of schools like mine or FHS. And the more I interact with people within the industry, the more I find out that community access television was an incubator for where they got to. So it's really important for us to remember to keep an eye on legislation, and as Bob McDermott always said, the children are our future. So thank you very much for this award.
I was going to start with the FATV sports report, but I thought we'll keep it simple, guys. So I am a firm believer that sports, that sports bring us closer together. It teaches life lessons, allows you to travel, meet new people. I'm also a firm believer that sports is nothing without a voice. Such things as, the Red Sox won the World Series in 2004, the Music City Miracle, or Carl Ravage, Here Comes Vanderbilt in the College World Series. These voices still send chills down your spine And without them, the game is a lifeless picture, and even playing. Over the years, I've worked with a number of broadcasting crews, from ESPN as a PA, running cables, yes, it's not the best job in the world. The Cape Cod League, colleges such as Holy Cross, Bentley, and Fitchburg State University. And I've worked with a number of different commentators in those years. And I can honestly say these two individuals, Daniel Bullock and John Gugarty, rank among the best. That is no joke. We hear their amazing voices through the FATV airwaves every Fitchburg State football game, Fitchburg High School football game, and yes, even Fitchburg State hockey. And to be honest, they're kind of a steal, because I don't know how anybody else hasn't picked these guys up yet. They work very hard and complement each other very, very well. Doesn't matter who's play-by-play or color, they pull you in, telling you stories, stats, and outcomes of the game. When I first met Dan, he was the director of Fitchburg State, the Falcon Sports Network. And good God, this guy knew everything about sports. Yes, more than me, especially. I learned a lot through Dan, and together we became one of the best broadcasting stations in the MASCAC. Over the years, I've had the pleasure to work with Dan at FATV through different broadcasts such as, like I said, hockey, football, short docs, and yes, he even does the graphics for us time to time. He's the voice of the Falcons and a true voice of FATV. John Gugarty, this guy drives from Springfield every single broadcast. This guy isn't afraid to get his hands dirty as well as call an amazing game. And he always makes sure our radios are on. Thanks, Dan. He always keeps things interesting, whether it's cars dying in -2-degree weather after a hockey game, or his amazing dance moves. Yeah, John, wherever you are, I saw those moves. After party at his place. That was a secret. I saw him. You were right by the truck. Again, the local area, Fitchburg Access Television, is very lucky to have these two amazing guys on our airwaves. It is my pleasure to present the on-air talent to Daniel Bullock and John Gugarty.
I am completely out of ways to say how thankful I am to FATV for existing and for allowing me to come in and work in the truck or just sit in the press box and make wrestling jokes all day. It's really what I do. The work that Ann, Scott, Dave, Travis, Matt, Jared, Nicole, all of you do is incredible. And Travis especially, I can't tell you how many times or how many different things I've seen break at the very last minute, the most inopportune time. And Travis just like 2 minutes ago, runs out the door, finds someone, fixes it. It's what he does. Without Travis, we would not only have the quality of broadcasts that we do, we just wouldn't have the number of broadcasts that we do. There have been at least a dozen times we're not on the air 30 seconds before the game starts, and then Travis fixes it, and everything's good. I also, of course, want to congratulate Barbara on her very well-deserved Boulder Award. I enjoyed every episode of Barbara and You that I directed, even if I was screaming at myself for changing to the wrong camera or making fun of whichever conservative politician you had on any given week. Congratulations, Barbara. Two last things. I want to give a quick shout out to the two guys who gave me a start in the broadcast booth, Todd Robbins and Mark Rocheleau. Todd is a guy who does this for a living, and I was a guy with no experience, and he took me into the booth and showed me the ropes. And he didn't have to do that. But I want to take whatever time I have left, I've already taken too much, up here to thank and congratulate my broadcast partner, Danny Bullock. Wait, I have a speech. Wait, you'll get your turn. All right. It doesn't matter if it's a championship game at a packed Mass Mutual Center or a game between two teams who are fighting to stay out of last place in front of friends and family only. When he shows up, Dan knows everything there is to know about whatever teams are playing that night. He knows the players, he knows the coaches, he knows the narrative, he knows what's at stake, he knows what to watch for, he knows the rule book inside and out, no matter what game, no matter what conference, no matter what league. And the best part is, he brings 2 copies, so I look like I know all of that stuff too. I've been fortunate enough to work alongside a lot of really talented broadcasters in my time here at FATV. I already mentioned Todd Robbins, of course Joe Tredello, Dave Clark, Mike Flynn, Dave Svens. I could go on, but none of them, nobody, puts as much work and time and effort into preparing for a broadcast as Danny does. Oh crap, I'm making you cry. I'm sorry. I'll stop now. I'm thankful to FATV for giving me the chance to do this, and thankful to all of the broadcast partners I've had and everyone who works in the truck, but I am so proud to share this award with my friend Danny Bolak.
Now you gotta stay up here while I give this speech.
All right, I'm standing right here.
All right. So first off, I've got to start by thanking my wonderful family who is here today. You know, my mother, Sue, my father, Mark, my brother, Corey, all my friends and family. So thank you for all the support you've given me over the years. I had to make sure I started by thanking them because the last time I won an award and had to give a speech, I had to give the speech on 10 seconds notice. And I forgot to thank my family and all of the things that I was able to pull out of nowhere, so I had to make sure I led off with that. So, once again, thank you, and thanks to FATV. Of course, all the people that John Gugerty thanks, I thank as well. I just can't remember the list. He always does the crew reads for a reason. And I've got all the stats. He's got all of those things. Very important. And of course, for FATV, you know, giving me that chance. I've been working on Falcon football since 2015, thanks to my work with the Falcon Sports Network. It was my work with FATV that got me my gig with WPKZ in Fitchburg. I've been working with them for the last 4 years as well, and I've gotten to do games all across the state, Worcester, Springfield, and the TD Garden, not just once, but twice. Once-in-a-lifetime events. Couldn't have done it without the support at FATV and the support at WPKZ. And of course, they're here as well, so. Well, again, a round of applause for them, please.
Clap for the radio people.
And to get this award, I mean, as you can see, he had his speech written on his iPhone. I have a note card of notes. So yet for this speech, I don't have my pure 2 pages of stats to work off of. I've just got these little notes here that tells me what I should say, what I should think. But again, I mean, to get this award, though, it is a wonderful honor. It shows all the work that we've put into these games. It's really worth it, and to have something like this, I guess, to show us the work that we put into to perform all this for your entertainment. I'm just rambling here because
You're doing all right.
All right, but our job is just to entertain you. We just try to have fun along the way.
Our job is to have fun. If you guys are entertained, it's a bonus.
Absolutely. And of course, the wonderful crew that makes everything happen as well. Travis, as we've said, you've seen his wonderful work at work tonight already. And all the wonderful people who perform all the actions on camera, whether they be on the scissor lift, in the truck, all those wonderful things. They're bringing you the pictures. We're just saying words. That's all we're saying.
Really?
We're saying words, describing it, and hey, if it comes off as really good, I mean, the fact that we've got these awards means we must be saying something that makes sense, right? We're making lots of sense, enough sense. But I guess, what else should I say? I've got one more thing. I've got a high degree of difficulty reference here.
Oh, God.
Do you think I should go for it?
Yes.
Yes?
Absolutely.
All right.
Do it.
I've got a high degree of difficulty reference. It's high degree of difficulty because I'm going to reference a show that I am pretty sure I'm the only person in this room who's watched.
Oh, that's a challenge.
Yep, that is a challenge. All right. It was a show that aired a couple years ago in Japan called Knights and Magic. And I was on the fence about watching it, but why should I watch it? As I went through it, there are 3 things that I took away. Exciting action, stunning visuals, and everybody is having fun. Why should you watch a game on FATV? Because we have exciting action, stunning visuals, and everyone is having fun. And as long as you'll keep having us, I assure you, we're going to keep having fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
The producer award is next, and to make that presentation, Jared Roberts.
Hi, everybody. I am here today to present an award to Alex Cardinelli. And it is a very unique experience because Alex gave me an award last year, where she said that I was more than capable of interning at MIT Lincoln Labs because I could count to 10 on the mic test. So this is payback. So, from my research, and as incomplete as that might be, Alex started producing and being the premier host for Inside Fitchburg in 2016, which is actually when I came back to FATV from wherever I was. I can't even remember life before FATV. But that was when I started, showing up at more studio productions, helping out behind the scenes instead of just being locked in a closet for the government meetings. So believe me when I say that not only is it just a pleasure to get Alex in front of a camera and have all that fun stuff happen, she is equally as fun behind the camera when we can make fun of anything that's happening, no matter what. Yeah, really. Alex has done shows about just about every facet of the Fitchburg community, Fitchburg Public Library. We've done on location shoots for Coggeshall Park, some theater productions at Fitchburg State. We've had the mayor on a few times. I don't know why he kept showing up. And Inside Fitchburg helped, I can say personally, helped with getting us used to the green screen virtual set that let us pave a way into the future, even if we had very little idea what we were doing at the start. She even came in to help us with the North Central Journal voice work, which was not easy, especially when we were telling her what to say, and she thought, she wasn't doing too good. Yeah, you don't like that? No. But at the end of the day, Inside Fitchburg under Alex helped to build a stronger community, build a stronger Fitchburg. And I can say working with Alex and even behind the scenes and doing all the little stuff helped me to help the community of Fitchburg. So as far as I'm concerned, that's as good as it gets. So thank you, Alex.
You like that? All right. Wow, it's weird. I've actually not been around for a little while. I stopped hosting Inside Fitchburg. It was a very reluctant decision, but my gosh, I don't know, a year and a half ago now, I think. Time flies. When I had my daughter, I made the decision to be home more. So, hard decision, but I'd love to thank FATV, all these folks right over here. I miss you guys. You were beyond fun to work with and showed me a lot. Quite frankly, that green screen's all Dave over there, because they're the ones who told me we're going to do a green. I'm like, all right, I don't care. Pick whatever picture you want. But we had a lot of fun. We really did. It was always a nice way to end the first 2 Tuesdays or Wednesdays of the month. I already forgot. There it goes. Okay. Mom brain never leaves. I'd also like to thank my family for being here this evening. Right here, my aunts, my mom and dad. My dad's Steve, so that's why the joke about the mayor showing up. Those were always fun.
We love you, Joel.
He wouldn't leave me alone. My husband, Mike, thanks for being here. My brother couldn't make it tonight, but I'd like to thank him too. He was always very supportive of my shows. So I'd like to thank everyone tonight too, and FATV as a whole, Fitchburg as a whole as well. Fitchburg State University, I also have 2 degrees from Fitchburg State University, both in communications. I would not have become interested in public access television had it not been for my experiences there either. So it really is a gem, and I'd like to thank them too. They also employ me, so currently, hi Dr. Lapidus. But no, thank you very much tonight. It's been a lot of fun to be back amongst the FATV family, and I so appreciate this. Thank you all again. Enjoy your night.
Our final member award is the Romolo Testamarta Award, presented to someone who, as a producer and volunteer, has been second to none. My first football season at FATV back in 2012, I found myself behind a camera in a construction lift 20 feet off the ground behind the press box at Elliott Field. And on a camera right next to me was the then president of the board of directors, Bill Gates. Bill loved football and was someone we could regularly depend on to be part of the crew. He was committed enough to regularly volunteer as a crew member for the Longzhou Classic. And in addition to helping with our remote broadcasts, Bill for many years co-hosted the weekly studio show Inside Fitchburg, which was taken over by Alex Cardinale. Bill voluntarily served on the board of directors at FATV for 20 years. He became president of the board in 2007 and continued in that position until his retirement this past June. It gives me great pleasure to present the Romolo Testamarta Award to our good friend and longtime colleague, the other Bill Gates.
Thank you all so much for that warm applause. I have enjoyed working at FATV, and volunteering at FATV, I should say. And I'll jump on what Scott was saying earlier. It takes a lot of volunteers to make FATV happen. And I started back in 1990 with FATV. Romolo Testamarta was just a wonderful man. He was a retired civil engineer, and he volunteered for everything. He really set the bar for every volunteer at FATV. There are so many people that really are deserving of this award, and that's the great part of being a part of FATV, is you experience so many different people. I've met so many bright, wonderful people being involved with FATV, and especially interviewing people on Inside Fitchburg. And we had an earlier show called Class Action when we did get a new high school. So I want to thank everyone for being here tonight, and I want to thank FATV staff and the board of directors for this award. And I have cherished my 28 years with FATV. And I would like to say tonight I have my whole family with me except for one person. And if I could quickly, Jennifer Gates, Rob Fairbanks, my grandson Shay Fairbanks, my son Devin Gates, my daughter-in-law Sarah Gates, my daughter Sarah Hillman, and I am so happy that tonight I have Daniela Rose Gates, my granddaughter Danny Rose, here tonight. And through all that 28 years of being away for football games and doing Wednesday night shows and volunteering for so many different events at FATV, I thank my wife Susan, who I love very much. And I really could not have volunteered as much as the wife of my friend. So I thank you so much. Thank you.
This year, the 14th annual Bob Wilson Scholarship Award was conferred during Fitchburg State University's 42nd annual honors convocation on April 18th. We offer our congratulations this evening to award winner Mark Davenport, a film student at Fitchburg State maintaining a 3.96 GPA, while also working as an EMT with Spalding Ambulance in Boston. Mark also found time to volunteer for three-piece suit football. an organization that raises funds for Operation Delta Dog, whose mission is to help train service dogs for disabled veterans. We recently had the pleasure of meeting Mark, who could not be with us tonight, and anticipate a more active involvement with FATV in the months ahead. Congratulations, Mark. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Mayor of the City of Fitchburg, Stephen DiNatale.
Thank you, Scott. I just wanted to say something about the on-air personality. John and Dan, where's Dan? There's an additional award for you, Dan, the ZZ Top Award. ZZ Top look-alike. I'm looking at you and I'm saying, that is some beard. Congratulations. And you know what, guys? You want a great show? It's a little dark side of comedy, but Brockmeyer, check it out. He's a baseball announcer. Great show. And a thank you goes out to my doll, Alexandra, from me up here. Congratulations on your award, and my whole family's joining her tonight. Joanne, we did a pretty good job, didn't we? Thank you. And also, I wanted to congratulate and wish Devin Gates good luck next year for all those games at Leominster High School, with the exception of one. Understandable. Okay, but really, congratulations. What a great addition to their program. You know, I spent probably close to 25 years in public service, if you count city council and things like that, and school committee. And I always used to talk to people at the State House about public access television and what a great organization we had here in Fitchburg, because we always thought it was like that everywhere. It's not. I would show them videos of games at Crocker Field, and they're asking me, who's doing the camera work on this stuff? It doesn't happen everywhere. It's been developed to such a fine point that we really, really should be proud as a community. And that's what you guys are, is a spoke in the wheel of Fitchburg's creative economy. Sally Cragen's here tonight. Sally and I were at her mother, Janet Cragen's award ceremony last night for some of the young folks in middle school in the city of Fitchburg. Some great things happening there. Not to mention the Fitchburg Arts community across the street from the museum and what's happening there. FATV is another component to our creative economy, our arts and culture economy. That's what we're Red Point focused on, and that's what's going to make us greater than ever. And I want to thank all of the partners that are in here tonight. You know, it's a collaboration and a partnership. Certainly, President Lapidus is a key member of that. Also, Jay Bry. I never miss citing him as well, because we couldn't do it without him. But FATV, I'm happy to report, continues their partnership with a contribution to our Civic Days event coming up in the summer. Pretty big contribution, and we thank the board and certainly Scott for that. Let's have a round of applause for that. Thank you. Because it is, we can't do this, nothing happens alone. It has to be a partnership and a collaboration. And I present Barbara, although I hope this wasn't supposed to be a surprise, right, Barbara? You get the award. But it is hereby known to all that the city of Fitchburg hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Barbara Foster in recognition of being honored with the FATV Boulder Award for your outstanding contributions to civic life through the use of public communications. And you've been doing this about 43, I think, is in the program, 43 years. That's pretty impressive. The entire citizenry extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued good fortune. Congratulations, Barbara. Thank you, folks.
I mentioned that Representative Hay was here earlier but had to leave for a personal engagement, but he also brought with him a citation from the House of Representatives for Barbara Foster. We hereby known to all that, be it, this fancy print. It looks like a W, but it's a B. I gotta, Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulation to Barbara Foster in recognition of your incredible contributions to your community and for your incomparable work on your television program, Barbara and You, the longest-running live television program in the country. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors. Now please join me in welcoming State Senator Dean Tran.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here with you tonight. 43 years. Wow, that's incredible. 43 years. Let's see, how old was I? I think I was a few months old. I'm here to sincerely say thank you to you, Barbara, for everything that you've done. It's incredible. Everything on top of being a mother of 7 and a grandmother of 12, if I recall correctly. That's incredible. And, it was an honor. I was very honored to be on your show. And I am very honored now to be here recognizing all the achievements that you've done and all the contributions that you have made toward our community and the whole entire district. So on behalf of the State Senate, I would like to present to you a citation. And it says, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts State Senate official citation. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to you, Barbara Foster, in recognition of receiving the 23rd Annual Boulder Award for your outstanding contribution to civic life. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success. Signed by our Senate President Karen East Bilger, and signed by myself, your state senator, and offered you this citation on today's day, May 9th, 2019. And I would like to end by saying, you are a wonderful person. You're not only just a role model, but you're also an icon. So thank you very much.
The Boulder Award is given for outstanding contributions to civic life through the use of public communications. Please welcome former FATV Executive Director and Boulder Award recipient, Dave Svens.
Some of them did remember me.
And they clapped anyway?
They clapped anyway, yeah. Why do I always end up following Alex? Godspeed, yes. Anyway. This is going to be short because I called Barbara the other night to just check notes and make sure I didn't want to repeat something that she was going to say. And she said, "You're not going to speak very long, are you?" And I said, "No." And I said, "Why not?" She said, "Well, I have a house showing in Winchendon at 8:30, so I'll try to move it right along." But do you ever wonder why? I sound like Andy Rooney. You ever wonder why people will get up and get introduced to something like this, and they'll say something like, "Thank you very much. I can't tell you how happy I am to be here tonight." And I always, when I hear that, I say, "Why not? Why can't you tell us how happy you are?" Well, it's not coming from me tonight because I'm thrilled to be here. It's always great to come back to Fitchburg. It is, despite the fact I live in Maine now. It's, it is home. It always will be. And so it's always great to come back. great to see old friends. I was at FATV earlier today, and just to see this magnificent crowd here tonight. And of course, to be chosen to give Barbara the award tonight, the 2019 Boulder Award to Barbara Foster. It's still Foster, right? Yeah. I've been away for a little while, you know. These things can change. Anyway, 43 years, and of course not all at FATV, because FATV did not even exist when you started. You were with either Montechusett Cable TV, the cable companies had their own studio things. And this just happened, actually it started a couple of weeks ago. I was at a flea market on Monhegan Island, and I was walking by, and there was this Bible that somebody was selling, and I don't collect Bibles, but this thing had a look to it, and so it was $5, so I bought it. Never looked at it until the other day, and I should have sent it to Pastor Shad for evaluation, but when I read that first page, I said, my God, this is unbelievable. First book of Genesis. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. On the first day, he said, let there be light, and there was light. On the second day, God took the day off to prep for his interview with Barbara Foster. So that 43 years thing it's in the Bible. I know Barbara's been asked over the years, how did it start? How did you get into this? And this is a straight story. Barbara, were you living, this is to tell the truth story, you were living in Fitchburg area. I don't know how many, if you're over 40, 50, there was a TV show, a game show called To Tell the Truth, originally hosted by Bud Collyer, and I think it was Bill Cullen later, and Gary Moore. Well, anyway, Barbara wanted to be on the show, and the premise of the show, in case you haven't seen it, there would be 3 contestants, one of whom was actually the person, it would be an astronaut or something, and 2 other people, the 2 contestants would be imposters, liars. And then they had a celebrity panel, and they would try to guess by asking questions who was the real one. So Barbara had applied, sent a letter in, and I guess there was a scheduling problem, and you couldn't do it the first time. But anyway, she got called back, and she ended up on this show as one of the 2 imposters. And it was the actual person that they were looking for was a woman basketball player, redheaded, so you had to wear wigs or whatever. Well, anyway, Barbara actually got 2 votes. 2 of the panel thought that she was the basket, and I guess living with all those boys all those years paid off. But that's how it started, and she came back to Fitchburg. Pat Gogan, who was a reporter and columnist for the Fitchburg Sentinel, I'm sure George Merajanian remembers Pat, and I believe she's still living in Fitchburg. Anyway, she wrote an article about Barbara's experience. The then manager of the cable company read it and called Barbara and said, how'd you like to do a TV talk show? And she said, sure. And that's how it started, 43 years ago. Now, you haven't seen this. This is not a menu from Dan Chan's. This is, although I will take one from column A. This is a list, this is true, this is a list of celebrities that Barbara has interviewed over the years. Not all on Barbara and you. Barbara's an excellent writer, and some of them were for articles and whatever, but I mean, just Johnny Cash, Arthur Fiedler, Buddy Rich, bet you that was a good one. A lot of sports figures, Spaceman Lee, Dave Cowens, they could have used him last night, and authors. And I looked through this, and there are two names that are blatantly missing. Scott May and Dave Spence. Scott and I were both working at WFGL, doing sports, among other things. And at the time, Barbara's son Rick was playing basketball for Doug Rutchfield and Fitchburg High School, and they were involved in a tournament. So anyway, she invited us on to be her guests, talking about what we did, and of course we didn't know what we did. You did ask us, could you hitch a ride with us to the tournament, the next, out in Western Mass? And we said, yeah, sure. Never heard from you again. So, yes, I think she must have checked the references or something. But, yeah, absolutely. I had the pleasure of, after Barbara came to FATV, and I started there, well, volunteering in '92, but actually working there in '04. And about that time, Barbara's, the cable companies were getting rid of their local programming, and so she had a show with no place to go, and fortunately she came to FATV, and I was fortunate for several years to be her director, which was a lot of fun. It really was. And there have been numerous shows. And I'm going to try to tell a story without mentioning any names, because some of them, like the old Dragnet thing, we'll change them to protect the innocent. But Barbara came to me one day and said, I've booked Charlie Smith for an hour. And Charlie played a musical instrument. Anyway, and it was an instrument that is indigenous to one particular country where they wear kilts. Anyway, so she told me that she had asked, because she had doubts whether she could pull off a whole hour show, because her show is an hour, but she usually breaks it up into two halves, guests first half, guests in the second half. But Charlie, matter of fact, I don't even remember his real name now. I said, oh, yes, we can talk about, stuff. Well, anyway, the night of the show came, and I was in the reception area, and through the door comes Charlie, wearing his kilts, but no instrument. Bagpipes. So I'm thinking, oh, boy. Now, Barbara previously had told me that, I'm in trouble if I ask a guest, so, do you have any pets? Which means she was running out of questions. Well, anyway, we were like maybe 10 minutes into the show, and we knew. Barbara would reel off a 5-minute question, and yep. So I sent somebody from the control room out with a note saying, if you want to bail out at 7:30, it's okay with me. So somebody, one of the crew members, on their hands and knees going out there and handed it to Barbara. And the look was like somebody had just, ready for the lethal injection, but was given a reprieve, The next day, next morning, I was in the station, and a call came in, and I answered the phone. And it was a woman whose voice I recognized because she was a regular caller, usually calling about city council meetings or something. But anyway, she had an accent similar to the man who was the guest appearance. She said, well, I saw Barbara's show last night with Charlie. I've known Charlie for 35 years. And I'm thinking, and you cut the show short, a half an hour. And I'm thinking, oh, here it comes. And she said, let me tell you something. For Barbara to get out of him what she did in that half hour was amazing. And it was. We haven't seen him since. By the way, Barbara's, what makes a good talk show host, and you can ask the right questions or whatever. Barbara has such a unique way of making people feel at ease. And, on a national talk show, you're talking to, professional actors or whatever, and they're used to being in front of a microphone or a camera or whatever. so many people on Barbara's show are there for the first time, and they're scared to death, and she has just an uncanny ability to make people feel at ease. And, you know, at the end of virtually every show, particularly with those people that weren't used to it, they'd say, "That's it?" You know, it was like in the dentist chair, you know, "You took the tooth out already?" You know. So it was just an amazing trait that she has. She's been hosting the chamber breakfasts for years. I used to shoot. I got the thrill every once a month of clipping the microphone transmitter on her back. You know, that was my thrill for the day. You know? She has. We mentioned, and most of you know that she's a writer, and she's got something just coming out. Was it this month or yeah? From Chicken Soup for the Soul. I thought it was just one book, but no, they come out all the time. And she submitted an article that is going to be published in this one coming out. And when she told me about it on the phone, I was kind of, I mean, it was great, but it was about a cat. I'm not going to tell the story because
You gotta buy the book.
you got to buy the book. Well, but just as a throw-off, when she's telling me the story, she says, "Of course, I'm not a cat person." What? Ooh. But anyway, so you can look for that. She's championed many charities, and you see some of them listed on the back of the program. I know Ginny's Helping Hands was one that you were very close to. And she's a full-time renter at Foster Healy. And we knew that, too. Anyway, it is my pleasure. Barbara, come on up here. '23rd Annual Boulder Award presented to Barbara Foster.
It's okay, Dave.
For
I make the jokes too, so
yeah,
it's okay.
okay. For outstanding contributions to civic life through the use of public communications, May 9th, 2019. Congratulations, my old friend.
I was told that was a very special rock. You want to tell about them getting the rock from me? Who did? Ann?
Ann and Dave Oster climbed Rollstone Hill and found the rock.
Is that cool or what? Well, couple things if you're ever on live TV, and I really do love doing live TV, but one rule is always have a tissue with you. Sometimes I'm moved to tears, and sometimes my nose is just running. So always be prepared. All these wonderful comments, I don't have anything left to say. They said all the things I was going to say, but I'm going to say them differently. So here I go. I used to tell people that I was public access before there was public access, and someone pointed that out tonight, that definitely is true. Pardon me that I am going to read this. Most of you know that I usually work with index cards. The chamber people all know that. And I've got a whole script, but when I timed it with my 6-year-old granddaughter, it was 4.5 minutes. It might take 10 tonight, but some of you people ramble too. And also by having it written out, I won't forget anything that I want to be sure to say. I cannot tell you how surprised and honored I was when Nate gave me a call and said that I was going to be the recipient of the Boulder Award this year. I was overwhelmed and literally moved to tears. I thought, this is undeserved. And it really is a humbling experience. And there's quite a few people in this room who've gotten the award before me, and you know what I'm talking about. It is a very humbling experience. And while I think it's undeserved, I want you to know I totally appreciate it. And I am loving all this attention I'm getting tonight. Now, I was thinking about, I'm kind of glad this isn't like the Oscar presentations. There you have the music that comes on when it's time to get off. Well, if Dave gives me a cut sign, I'll shut up. But anyway, but people prepare a speech and then they don't win. and they don't get to make their speech. And sure enough, somebody who wins didn't think they could win, so they didn't even write a speech. So anyway, I wanted to be prepared. Then I did to have the warning music, that's a good thing. I honestly, from my heart, want to thank God and Jesus Christ. And I wouldn't be anything in my life if I didn't believe in them. One of the biggest blessings in my life is my family. And they already told you I've raised 7 children. I gave birth to 3, and the other 14 Harris I picked up along the way were 3 years old, 10, 11, and 12 years old. Rick, that you talked about, was 12 years old. And I raised them as their birth mother was deceased. And it is a blessing. I thank the Lord every day for having my family. I'm a little jealous that you people have your local families to fill a whole table. A lot of my kids, I just got back from Indiana and Ohio visiting some of my kids. But I do have my 2 daughters here tonight, Jessica and Leslie. And my daughter-in-law, who was fortunate enough to marry my handsome Rick. And he got a beautiful wife, my daughter-in-law Elizabeth, who is like another daughter to me. Oh, and I thank you, girls. They bought me lovely flowers. That was so sweet of you. Now, her husband, Rick, is on the road on a sales trip right now. And Jessica's husband is also on the road, a salesman, and they are both working very hard to keep the plastics industry alive and well. One's in Canada, one's in Ohio. And they're both working in the plastic industry. And Fitchburg State has been mentioned so many times tonight. I have to say also that Jessica's husband is one of the coaches for soccer at Fitchburg State. Now, as Dave was saying, which at the end of my speech I was going to say, but I'll say it now. Dave, we never know what you're going to say. But Leslie can attest, when Dave walked up here, I leaned over to Leslie and I said, he's always funny. Dave, I just love your sense of humor, Dave. And I had forgotten about the bagpipe guy. And that lady who called you, that was Bunny McDougall. She passed away a few years ago, but she had the Scottish brogue and
Probably from listening to bagpipes.
probably, it'll do a lot of damage. But as Scott and Dave alluded, I came to Fitchburg Access in 2004, and at that point had been doing my show quite a few years. And the cable company kept changing hands. And when they decided they were going to cancel all the local programming. And by the way, I got paid when I worked for the cable company. And of course, public access can't pay you. But when I was thinking, well, this is the end of the road, my show's over, I did get a call from Lunenburg Public Access, Leominster Public Access, and Fitchburg Public Access. And I interviewed with each of them, and Fitchburg had the best studio, the best equipment, the best people. And was Paul Weiland? What was Paul's last name? Weiland. Okay, that's who I interviewed with. And I said, well, you know, Paul, I'll make you a deal. Because most people on public access have to provide their own crew. Everybody will tell you I am totally non-technical. And I didn't want to have to provide my own crew, so I was promised they would always provide a crew for me, and they would allow me to show it in other towns. And with that, I went with FATV, and I've never regretted it for 1 second. And while I do have that long list of celebrities I've interviewed, the local community is just full of wonderful, interesting people. But so many times people, and even people from out of the area, Boston or whatever, they'll come into our FATV studio and they're amazed that there's a cable company that is that professional and everything is just fabulous with our studio. I also want to mention, as Scott did, Pat Gogan, who wrote that article about me way back when, and that ended up getting the TV ball rolling because there were some points in the article about some experience I'd had in Cincinnati modeling and doing TV commercials. And that really got it very well started. So I wanted, and actually I called Pat Gogan. She does still live in Fitchburg. She's 85 now, and I invited her to come as my guest tonight. but she said she really doesn't go out much anymore, and she was really grateful that I called her. And I want to not embarrass her, but I have to mention someone else who is, without a doubt, my most faithful fan and viewer, Peg Padovano. Peg never I don't think Peg misses my show unless she's got a hot date that night, I'm not sure. But very often, as soon as I get off the air, I'll have a text from Peg. Oh, that was a good one. That was really interesting. The one about the kids that have run up all these credit cards and they can't get mortgages. She said, oh, that was so true. We're trying to fix it. But anyway, thanks, Peg. I always know I have one viewer out there. And it is a strange thing. It's what I do hosting the chamber meetings is very different from the live TV show, because the chamber meetings, we have an audience like I have you tonight, and usually I tremble when I have an audience. I'm doing pretty well tonight. But when you're in the empty studio, it's an altogether different feeling. You don't get any of the feedback or anything. And I began by saying many people preceding me tonight had honored a lot of people and read all their accolades. But I still want to mention, and I'm not going to do this much individually, but I do want to acknowledge certain people tonight, and I'm going to ask you to hold your applause. And everybody, I've been told I'm bossy, and I always say it comes from raising 7 children. It's called self-defense. But I'm asking you to hold your applause. I'll tell you when. And I'm asking some people to stand up and stay standing. Okay, will you do that for me tonight? All right. I definitely want to thank everybody at FATV. I cannot say anything negative about it. It's been a fabulous experience. And everybody in this room who has ever worked on the crew in any capacity, on the technical crew at FATV, would you please stand? No, thank you. No, thank you, Jessica. Yeah, hold that applause. Okay, now, the board of directors, you heard all the names and their backgrounds and all that, but that's the current board of directors. Anyone in this room who has ever served on the board of directors, will you please stand? And then, of course, they're standing, and they deserve to be standing, but there is that very terrific trio of Ann, Scott, and Dave. And I really couldn't remember Dave or Scott, which one I met first. I kind of think it was Dave. I think he's a little bit older. Right, Scott? Yeah. And Scott, you know, I've interviewed him. He's interviewed me. And Ann actually served as an intern on my show when she was at Fitchburg State. And so you are all just so important to me, and I can't thank you enough for all that you've done for me. So as I say, this is a very humbling experience, and I have all these helpers. So give them a round of applause. Now you may sit down, and I have another request. Anyone in this room who has ever been a guest on my show, would you please raise your hand? Hi. Okay, I kind of like that. Now, for the rest of you who did not raise your hand, what are you waiting for? I'm not going to live forever. Come on. I'm so grateful for this honor. And to see so many people here tonight. Many of you know that you really surprised me by being here, and I just so much appreciate it. And I am thankful for Foster Healy Real Estate and all the people that are here. And no, I did not marry Rick's brother. Foster is my maiden name. I came to Fitchburg with a married name, but I've changed names a few times. Don't hold that against me. But I decided to go all the way back to my maiden name and never change it again. But also, when I first interviewed with Rick Healy, I said I couldn't work for any other realtor because the name Foster's in there. And I'm sorry, Rick, sometimes people do think I'm an owner, but I usually confess that I'm not. I also want to thank all those wonderful chamber people back there who just adds so much. Oh, and look at that, they've got their little bump. And Teresa, Jared's mother is Teresa, who held that up. And Teresa, I want to tell you, Dave Svens came to do the show, and it was really great of him, but I'm sure one of the other highlights is him seeing you tonight, because he always raved about what a great job you did doing the accounting. So probably the question I'm asked most often is, 43 years, haven't you run out of people to interview? And the answer is absolutely not, because there are so many interesting, worthy, wonderful people in this community of ours. And I'm very proud to be a part of this. I don't live in Fitchburg anymore, but I raised all my kids in Fitchburg, and we sell houses in Fitchburg whenever we can. And but I just really love shining a spotlight on people that maybe don't get enough recognition. And I tell people when I'm briefing them for my show that I'm a tool, like the microphone and the lights. The object is to get them talking. A TV talk show host really shouldn't talk that much. So, I'm really having a great time now because I'm just going on and on. But I have a friend back in my hometown of Cincinnati who can never remember the name of my show, and she always calls it Barbara's All Talk. So in conclusion, that's the word people always listen for, in conclusion, 3 years ago you honored me with a Lifetime Achievement Award, and Ann presented it to me, and Bob McDermott got one the same night, I believe. And I took the microphone and I said, I just want you to know I'm not done yet. And I still say, I'm not done yet. And all of you people who haven't been on the show, see me, email me, we'll get you on the show and we'll make it interesting. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
On behalf of the Board of Directors and staff at FATV, we thank you for coming. We thank you for the community support. We thank Mayor Di Natale and the City of Fitchburg for the 32-year-long partnership with Fitchburg Access Television. That's a wrap. Thank you.